they'll be the ones to be able to tell you why they did that reversal on your account.
Okay. Yes. And maybe we should maybe we leave it at that, because I wanted to say that the total collection, i.e. the credit sides, which are the deposits, are correct, but I don't think that may be factual, because given that there is a sheet missing, it's likely that, it's not what it is.
Yes, hopefully the missing sheets will make up for the differences. Yes. So perhaps we can leave this for now. And how long do you think you need to be able to obtain the statement from the bank? Is Friday good? You get it by Friday?
I wouldn't be able to know, because it's been how many years? So we'll try to get the bank to help us to do it as soon as possible, and we'll try giving them Friday deadline. Yes. And see how well they can.
If you cannot make it by the deadline of Friday, please just let the committee know.
No problem.
So that we can the bank should be able to tell you when the appropriate date for giving you the statement would be. The committee is about to wrap up its work, so it will be good if we can get this as soon as possible. And if you have the statement, you can send it via email to. Yes, so please turn on your mic. One of our investigators will just approach the deputy, and she will give her an email address to send it to. Thank you. Let's talk about the transfers of these funds from the sub-treasury accounts to the CRF. You stated earlier, and I told you that I like the fact that you said the reason the Jana Commission asset recovery accounts were opened was for traceability purposes. So that if a day like this comes up, it would be easy for either CBG or the AG to tell us or tell the Assembly or anyone asking questions how much money was generated from the sales of assets. And now we have this bank accounts at CBG, and there's from the statement, there's if we calculate, we have this sum, but then there's also a sum of money or a total of the sales that also was deposited into the CRF directly, which when it comes to reconciliation or asking for accountability purposes, it will not be easy for the funds to be traced.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say to that as the AG?
What do I
have to say to that? The fact that it's now difficult to trace or to know the total amount of money that was generated from the sales because the money is going into different accounts.
Yes. Maybe my comment would lean more on the rationale why we use sub-treasury bank accounts as opposed to, just one bank account for the collection of these funds. Here, this activity was time-bound, and it was just for a short period. And given the fact that the activities are across the country.
Sorry, let me provide clarity. I don't mean, my question is not about whether the money first went into the sub-treasury accounts. My issue here is that after the money was deposited in the sub-treasury accounts, of course, we know that it's going to be difficult for the cashiers to travel with the money all the way from Janjanbureh to Banjul at the end of this sale, at the end of the day for the number of days that the sale took place. My issue is that after the deposit of funds into the sub-treasury account, of course they're supposed to be transferred to CBG. But then by the time these sales were taking place, there was already an account that was open specifically for traceability of funds or obtained from the sale of assets of the former president and his associates. And now these funds from the sale of tractors and vehicles went into the CRF and not the Jane Commission account. That is the issue here.
Okay. I was coming to that. For the sales that happened within the combos, whereby it was reasonable for cashiers to access central bank directly as opposed to going through a transit account. Those ones were handled directly and deposited in the Jane Commission account. But like I said, given the fact that these activities happen everywhere in the country, and it was impractical, impossible for cashiers to access the Jane Commission directly. So a decision was made to use the sub-treasury bank accounts. And the sub-treasury bank accounts basically were set up not for Jane Commission account, not for Jane Commission activities, but they were set up to handle the operations of sub-treasuries. And in terms of operational, whatever, maybe this is not the right word to say convenience, but basically all revenues collected everywhere automatically, the setup it goes through the CRF in central bank. So it was basically impossible to change that. So the activity came at a time when these accounts were in existence already, and we've been using it, and that is the procedure. And it was impractical for you to now tell the bank, when monies are deposited in the bank account, now take your time and disaggregate between funds from Jane assets and other funds. And since they're using the same bank account and the same channel, it was not possible to say Jane assets, let them go straight to Jane Commission. Sub-treasury activities go to CRF. So that was our challenge at that time, and that was the rationale, one of the reasons why it was done that way.
Okay. That's fine. So after these funds were now in the CRF. So perhaps let me just ask this before I complete this question. Were these accounts, that's the recovery accounts, the two recovery, the USD and the Dalasi account at CBG, were they ever subject to perhaps audit, either by the National Audit Office or the Department of, is it the Directorate of Internal Audit? Because if my view is that if an audit is to be done, and then somehow these accounts are also included in the process, or for an activity like this committee, the one that this committee has is now looking, because part of the mandate of this committee is to look at the sale proceeds, what was obtained from the sales. That is something that is expected by the Assembly to be included in the report. And now we have funds that went into the Jane Commission assets recovery accounts. We've now seen funds that went directly to the CRF. It's going to be hard it's not going to be easy to make the reconciliation or to make a total or know the total amount that was generated from these sales. So now the reason why I'm saying perhaps maybe if the Directorate of Internal Audit or is it the National Audit Office have ever had questions about these sales directed at the Accountant General, how did you handle those questions, and how did you provide answers to the auditors?
Okay. Um, According to what I know, an audit was done as part of the consolidated government audit of consolidated government financial statements. But in terms of actually auditing the account, I don't think that has ever been done. However, as part of the consolidated government audit, or audit of government consolidated financial statements, um, it came as a subject of an audit, and just from that perspective. But nothing has ever come up in terms of the bank account management.
Okay, that is understandable. But what about the accountant general's department? You would have to, as the government's main paymaster and receiver general, you would have to keep track of the accounts that are opened at your direction or instructions. And you have to also keep probably an eye or be able to know what transactions are happening in an account. And for a subject matter like this, I'm sure you or your office did not just place their interest on receiving the funds being deposited. You would have to account for the entire process because a commission was set up, sales were done by said commission, but also recommendations were made and assets are being sold. Were being sold, and to this day, assets are being sold. So, how do you, as AG, follow up on all the proceeds of these sales if they're going into different places?
Okay. Like I said in my earlier submission, our involvement is limited to opening of the bank account and also reconciling what goes into that account in terms of what was submitted to us, you know. But we were not involved, neither did we come across any documentation to guide how or to inform us of how this sales is going to be done. And that being the case, we just restricted ourselves to what we were involved in. That said, yes, it is true that, activities were going on and are continuing to take place. But like I said, that was the extent to which we were involved.
Now, this committee has a question. The committee wants to know how much money was generated from the sales of the assets of the former president and his close associates. Can you tell this committee how much was generated from the sales and the recovery of money in the commercial accounts as well?
I wouldn't know how much in total. And like I said, our knowledge is limited to what we were involved in. In terms of commercial bank accounts, we don't know, except for this arrangement that we used for these two sub-treasuries. So, like I said, we're not privy to any documentation, and also that limits our ability to know exactly to what extent, all the assets were accounted for.
Is this not an anomaly to you?
It is.
Because as accountant general, you're the government's chief accounting officer.
Yes.
the government's chief paymaster, and the receiver general of the government.
Yeah.
And now the National Assembly has a question. How much money was generated from the sale of assets and from the commercial accounts that the former president had? How much money was transferred from those commercial accounts at the end of the commission to the Jana Commission recovery account? And it's a question that you cannot answer. And it's so unfortunate, because if you cannot answer the question, who answers the question for the assembly there?
Maybe I can um, just rely on the account that is under our control, which is these two Jane accounts, which the statement is here, and I can tell you, as far as records on the bank statement can show.
Okay.
So, but whether this is all there is to it, I would not be able to tell, because this account is that which is under our control. Any other thing is not within our control.
You know, your answer does not surprise me. I expected it. The reason why I want you to see the anomaly. That is just what I wanted you to see. But the answer does not surprise, and I'm sure does not surprise the committee as well. The reason why I say it does not surprise me is because we have funds generated from the sales that went in directly to the CRF. This account was, or these two accounts rather, were opened for traceability and accountability purposes, and for ease of reference for you as the accountant general, and for any other government body, or any other government department that is interested or has the authority to look into the sales, or just know how much was generated from the sales. There's a letter I will show you later on, and it's requesting for money also recovered after the commission to be paid into another account at CBG. And that's why I told you it's not a surprise to me that you answered this. But the problem here is that we can't, it seems like no one can account for the total amount of money that is generated from the sales. And it's very unfortunate. And I hope perhaps maybe by the end of this committee's work, maybe when you go back to your office, you can try and help this committee so that our report will reflect the right amount. Yes, but I just wanted you to see the anomaly, and I'm glad that you see it.
So it's not that, maybe if you can allow me, it's not that we have not seen or recognized this anomaly, because when the audit was on, and it had this component of the Jane asset sales, basically it was really frustrating to run after people looking for information about this, to the point that up to today, some of the areas have still not been adequately addressed. So we're equally concerned about, some of these things that have happened, and we have done everything possible to get information, and basically it is an issue.
You just mentioned that some areas still remains unclear. So perhaps maybe you can just highlight what these areas are. Just let us know. And maybe perhaps this committee's report can help you in gaining clarity as well.
Okay.
I'm waiting for an answer, AG.
Pardon? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Okay, so you said there are areas that are unclear, even after the audit, the general audit that was done, that you had difficulties when it came to getting the right information that was needed for this exercise. So I'm just saying, perhaps you can just let this committee know what areas still remain unclear. You can tell us now if that's information you have with you here.
And
if not, maybe you can let the committee know at a different date.
yeah, that is what maybe my response did not come out clear. I said we would need to go back and check which areas are still outstanding, and we can furnish you with that information.
All right, that's fine. You can include it with the when you're forwarding the statement. You can just submit it together.
Okay. You have shared the statement. The statement has already been
Sorry, I
shared.
forgot that you've already shared the statement. So perhaps Friday, by Friday, you can provide this information to the committee.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Do you have the statements for these two recovery accounts at CBG with you?
Yes.
You do. Let's start with the USD account. You have that?
Yes.
From the statements submitted by you and CBG, we have a total, from our calculations, the total amount of inflows is 2,105,400 sorry, this is in US dollars. $2,105,547.57. And the total outflow from the said account is $2,105,547.57, bringing the account to a closing balance of $0. Zero butu. We have this amount from us, the statement submitted. The last date is 17th of September 2025. The inflows are from asset recovery settlements, TBL transfers, ISBD, and Sakajula Holding Company. Now the governor of Central Bank testified before this committee yesterday, and what he explained in the fund or account management process at CBG is that transfers are made at the directive of the accountant general. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So for all of these transactions, all transfers were made at your direction.
Yes.
And when you make these, give the bank these instructions, how do you communicate the instructions?
To Central Bank?
Yes.
Written instructions.
You always write.
Yeah.
So you would have copies of these instructions.
Yes. We have
Your deputy wants to speak to you.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. We had a file which we submitted because of, the tight timeline. That file would have the correspondences.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Was this the only submission brought to the committee, or do you have more submission from Accountant General's Department?
Yes, we have original receipts. We have some documents that are original. Yes. Yes,
No,
more
more
recent than,
recent.
not
than
very, very recent, but more
yes,
recent than the one you're
than the
holding.
rest.
Because they are originals, and some of them, I think it's because of the time we decide we're handling
In fact, it was
the documents with a little bit of care.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. You said it's part of the bundle. That's okay. But now my next question is, you write to CBG to make transfers to different accounts.
Yes.
Yes. And your own instructions, do you also receive instructions on where to transfer these funds to?
Yes.
Okay. So, for example, the first transfer, I think it's the first major transfer, maybe I should say, to the CRC,
Mm-hmm.
to the CRC's account.
Yeah.
Where did you receive these instructions from?
I think it's Minister of Finance. Ministry of Finance.
Okay, so at all times, your instructions to make transfers, are they from Ministry of Finance?
Maybe let's contextualize it.
Okay.
For this account, anytime a transfer is made by the Accountant General, an instruction would be received.
Yes, but you've explained that earlier. What my question is, are all the instructions you receive to make the transfers
On
from
these accounts?
from the Ministry of Finance?
Yes.
Okay, so Ministry of Finance writes to you
Yes.
to say transfer to CRC, or transfer to the CRF, or transfer to the Ministry of Finance.
No,
Okay, not the CRF.
not the CRF.
Okay, because they are different. Perhaps let's go through the statement and you will let me know where the instructions. So for CRC, you said Ministry of Finance gave the instruction.
Yes.
Okay. And then there's a Ministry of Finance account as well, that is account called MOFEA, MOFEA, that some transfers were made as well. Was that also at the direction of the Ministry of Finance? Or at the instructions at the Ministry of Finance, rather?
This is Mafia Revenue Bank account. I think this was an erroneous transfer.
Sorry, you said?
I said this was an erroneous transfer.
Which one?
The one that was transferred to the Ministry of Finance Revenue Bank account.
Okay.
You know. So, which was later reversed to Jane Commission.
Yes, please.
I'm done.
Okay. So you said the transfer to the Mafia, the Ministry of Finance revenue account, there was an error. Is that
Yes.
what you said?
Yes.
The amount was 249,000
240.
$240 and 50 cents. Is that it? Is that the transaction you're saying was the error?
Basically, this amount, instead of going to Mafia Revenue Bank account, it should have been a Jane Commission account. It should have come to the Jane Commission account, but instead it went to Mafia Revenue Bank account. And usually any deposits into any government revenue bank account, especially for Ministry of Finance, basically everything is swept on a standing order to CRF. And apart from, for this dollar account, apart from this transfer to the Constitutional Review Commission, everything else was moved to CRF.
Okay. So you're saying this 249, 240 and 50 cents came from the Ministry of Finance revenue account.
This one was supposed to be a Jane Commission
recovery
funds.
Okay.
But for one reason or the other, it went through the Ministry of Finance revenue account.
Why?
Maybe, whoever it was, maybe instead of giving the people or the person using the correct bank account, which is the Jane Commission account, he instead used the Mafia's revenue bank account. But given that at the end of the day, all these revenues go to CRF. So, and that revenue that went to the Mafia revenue bank account without human interference, it is also swept to CRF.
So how? Okay. You want to ask?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I think based on our understanding, it is that this amount of money was deposited into the Murphy account instead of the Janet Commission. However, even if it were deposited into the Janet Commission account, at the end of the day, it's going to be swept into the CRF. Is that what you are saying? But now the question would be the amount of money that the commission, the Janet Commission, would claim that they have received. Wouldn't that be understated, saying that because this amount did not go in there, it went straight? Because for tracking purposes, this amount would not reflect on the Janet Commission account.
That is why the Office of the Accountant General would do that through its reconciliation.
Okay.
Because any amount that is coming, for example, if we take Ministry of Finance Revenue Bank account, any money that is coming into the Ministry of Finance Revenue Bank account, during the reconciliation, you must know where it is coming from,
Okay.
based on the revenue lines of Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
So if it is coming that there is nothing here on this transaction that relates to Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Finance revenue line items, obviously, in terms of reconciliation, you would book it under the Jane Commission.
Okay. So essentially, you are saying that even though it was not posted originally into the right account,
we know
at
that
the time of the
this
reconciliation,
much,
it's been put to the right place.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So, but wasn't it just easier to transfer from this recovery account to the CRF? Why go to finance and then go to?
Why go to?
Why was the fund moved to the revenue account of finance?
You're not allowed to talk. Yeah, I'm done. I told you. Leave me alone. The
AG.
culprits are there. Now, this one, it's a bit technical because, like I said before, revenue recognition, you must be able to report it under a BE, like BE is a budget entity. So, given that Ministry of Finance is the revenue line item is on the Ministry of Finance. So to facilitate the movement and be able to report on this on our system, it was routed through Ministry of Finance. Then later on hindsight, they found out that the treatment was not right. So they wanted to reverse it.
Agnes?
And in reversing it is
Agnes?
what brought about this. But
Agnes,
maybe let's offline
all
this.
that you are saying is not going in the mic. We can't
Really?
hear you.
Oh.
You have to speak in the mic here.
Yeah, sorry about that. What I'm saying is this one is a bit technical, and it was just to facilitate the recognition of the movement of funds. And like I said earlier, these funds, they are swept to the CRF to, fund government's operation. However, in transferring these, it must be recognized under a revenue line item under a specific BE. So in doing that, they captured it, given the revenue line item is sitting under the Ministry of Finance. So that is what brought about this transaction. But it's basically to move the funds that were there as at this date.
You're right. That was technical. So, are you saying that the transfer was eventually the transaction was reversed?
No, not reverse as such,
All right,
because
so I'm going to say come down to the lawyer's level.
come down to
The lawyer's level. You're speaking to a lawyer.
yeah. Okay.
So on 30th
Actually-
October 2018, right? From what I'm seeing, an amount of $249,240.50 was transferred to Mofia revenue account.
Yes.
After that, you said that the funds in the Mofia revenue account swept to the CRF. Okay. But we don't have evidence of that.
Of the CRF transaction. We can
From
give you
Mofia
that.
to CRF.
We can give you that.
Okay, great. You can jot it down as what we need to see whether that transaction went to the CRF.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you done?
Yeah.
We can go to the Dalasi account. This account has more activities and more transactions than the USD account. Just like I asked earlier, it's like, AG, you don't really let these funds stay in this account for a little bit. Don't give them any idling time. Yes, so all right. So I said let's go to the Dalasi account. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. When will this account also seem to be opened early on?
Pardon?
I said this account seems to be opened early in 2017, September 21st.
Yeah.
At least that is what the first transaction.
Transaction says.
Yes. In an inward transaction of 3,025,187 Dalasi and 13 butut.
Mm-hmm.
As the first transfer of funds into the account, and subsequently there were other transactions, and it seems the first outward transaction on that account took place in 2018. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And can you just read out the amount that was transferred from the said account?
Can I get the question again?
Can you just read out the first outward transfer from that account, the Dalasi account?
The first outflow from the account.
Yes. Because from what when I'm looking at the statement, it's like the first outflow is on the 9th of August 2018.
August 2018.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And the amount is 33,235,117 Dalasi and 46 butu.
Yeah. Yes.
And from all the outflows seem to be going to the CRF. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's what I have as the total amount of credit, or the total inflow, is 1,758,163,119 Dalasi and 14 bututs.
I have not done the recasting to the addition to know exactly how much.
Okay.
But I want to know the formula that you used and what that amount represent.
Okay, so what we did was simple. We just looked at all the credits and we just added it
Okay.
together to get a total.
Yes, that should be fine, but I think we should be mindful of reversals, because if you
Okay.
have a reversal, you also have to accommodate that and remove it from the.
We do notice the reversals. And I believe this account, no, it's the dollar account that had a reversal because of a Dalasi transaction was deposited in it.
We did.
For the dollar account? Give me a minute.
Oh yeah, on the 5th of December.
Yes, there was a deposit of Dalasi into a USD account, into the account, and it was reversed. From what the governor has told this committee is that it shouldn't have gone into the USD account, but rather to the Dalasi account. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it in the dollar account. I'm trying to trace it in the Dalasi account. When did he say it was moved to the Dalasi account?
He did not give a specific date.
Okay, we'll look at that.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said we'll look at that.
Okay, please do. And perhaps when you take a look, please let the committee know what the outcome is.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. For all of the transactions on the, or should I say, all the outflows from the Dalasi account, it was CBG acted, or a testimony of the governor is that they acted at the instructions of the accountant general.
Yeah.
And the accountant general would also be acting on instructions. Is that correct?
On?
Instructions.
No.
Okay.
On all transfer or on all movements to CRF, it is handled like any revenue bank account of government.
Okay.
Because all revenues of government moves directly to CRF without us asking them to move.
Okay.
But maybe there would be instances where we would ask them to move.
So
that is where you see the frequency of the transfers.
So you're saying that once the funds go into the recovery account, they just swept to the CRS.
Yeah.
But it's not immediate, is it?
No, I don't know the frequency, but it moves.
I mean, some of the transactions have a reference letter.
Yes,
I mean,
those ones would be
at the instruction.
expecting that, yes, there would be instructions from the accountant general.
Okay. And it is not a fixed practice that anytime the funds are moving from the account to the CRF, that the accountant general is acting on instructions, but rather to make.
Yeah.
You can turn off the mic.
Come in.
Yes, please.
Okay. She's clarified that for all journey commissions, we would give instruction to central bank to move to CRF.
Sorry, please repeat that.
Yeah. For all movements from the journey commission account, we would give instructions to central bank to move to CRF.
Okay.
With the exception of a few, one of which is the most recent one on yes, the most recent one of the 16th of September. Just a few, and I can.
So you said
basically-
16th of September,
Yes, 2025.
2025.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe your own statement is more updated than ours.
Oh yeah, this is 16th of September, by which time we had already submitted
Yes.
documents to that effect.
Okay. But it's not an issue, it's fine. The committee has instructed the governor to forward the most
Recent bank
updated,
statement.
yes, most recent statements to include the recent transactions that have taken place in the account, as he had updated the committee yesterday. There are a large sum.
Okay.
I have the figures here, but that have been deposited into the account
Yes. I want
about
to
last week.
Yeah. I want to observe that there is a transaction of the 4th, which is 80
4th
million.
of
4th of November. You would not have it
okay.
there.
Okay.
As at the 16th of September,
Yes.
the Office of the Accountant General transferred 2,262,327 from the Jana Commission account to the TMA.
Okay.
On
Treasury management account.
Yeah, no, the Treasury main account.
Main account, okay.
On the instruction of Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
But
And
then
you have those instructions?
it's here.
Okay.
Maybe we can give you this letter because
Yes.
it came after we had done
After
the
you had
submission.
submitted, okay.
However, we have a transaction on the 4th of November, which is 80 million Dalasi that we had returned to Jana Commission account because in doing this transfer of the 175 million as at the 16th of November, a commitment was already made where we were supposed to not use the at least 80 million from that account because it's IMAC to fund another operation which maybe was not ready as at that time. So then, erroneously, we transferred everything that was there in the account. But then when this came up later, we wrote to Central Bank to say, return from TMA, i.e., the 175 that was paid there was paid to TMA. So now we're asking Central Bank to pay from TMA to return to pay to the recovery account 80 million so that we keep that money there until whatever. So I'm just mentioning this so you wouldn't take it as an amount from the activities of these assets.
Okay. All right. That is understandable.
Hello?
But if there's a reversal, we would expect that the statement would show that it's a reversal, or would
Yeah,
that not?
the statement I have has all that. But I just thought I should mention it, at least you think it is monies derived from the sale.
Okay. All right. I think we can stop here with regards to the Dalasi account.
Okay.
This looks like a photocopy. Can we keep this?
What's that?
The letter you just handed
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Okay. All right. The next questions are mostly going to be about either documentation or an audit trail. But before we get into that, before I ask this these questions about the audit process, is I'm sure you're aware that after the JANA Commission completed its work, they submitted a report with recommendations to the government, and subsequently the government published a white paper informing the public, but also just accepting or otherwise of the recommendations made by the commission. And eventually a receiver was appointed through the Ministry of Justice to conduct the sale of the assets that the JANA Commission had identified as belonging to the former president, either be it landed property, vehicles, different assets were identified, and this receiver is Alpha Barry of Alpha Capital. And if we take a look at the Dalasi recovery account, most of the inward transfers, especially the biggest, are done by him. Now, Mr. Barry operates accounts, 2 bank accounts in the commercial banks for the recovery of funds. Sorry, for the sales. So that the clients that buy the sales or the purchasers can deposit these funds, and then subsequently the funds are transferred to CBG. In the process of after the appointment of Mr. Barry and the process of Mr. Barry receiving these funds from the purchasers and then transferring to the JANA Commission Recovery account at CBG, was the Accountant General ever informed of this arrangement?
Not that I know of.
And when you learned about the transactions happening in these accounts, in the accounts at CBG, you're seeing these funds coming from Alpha Capital Advisory and Mr. Barry himself. Did you at any point perhaps contact the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Finance about the transactions and how the money was getting to CBG?
As far as I am concerned, the appointment of a receiver for the sale of the assets was public knowledge.
Yes.
And basically, based on the statements or activities of the account, would not be able to say these are coming from Alpha Capital or they are coming from somebody different from that. So I wouldn't be able to know.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking this, like we discussed earlier about traceability and ease of accounting for the funds that are being generated from this outcome. And to the best of my knowledge, ministries don't operate commercial accounts.
Yes.
So this extends to departments as well.
Pardon?
Ministries don't operate commercial accounts.
They're not supposed
to. Okay.
Unless
with permission from the AG. All right. So now these accounts that are being managed by the receiver for this process, the sale of assets and disposal of assets, is very crucial, because you had mentioned earlier that there are certain questions or issues that are not clear following the audit process that had already taken place. And did you at any point as a department think perhaps maybe you can look into these accounts that are being managed by the receiver when it comes to funds, because the receiver had testified here. And one of the questions posed to him is that once the funds are paid into the commercial account by the clients, do you forward it to CBG directly? And he said no. So in his contract, or there's also not a fixed term or a fixed time where the transfers should take place. Perhaps at the end of every month, any transfer that is received after he deducts his commission, he transfers to. So it's not a proper, there's not a fixed time in which the funds are moved to CBG. They sometimes, if you, it takes a while from when payments are received to when payments make it to CBG. So did you ever have these concerns as a department, or are you satisfied with the fact that eventually the money gets to CBG?
As a department, obviously it is a concern, but we have a challenge because maybe at that time it was felt that there is no need for the involvement of the Office of the Accountant General, and we got to know it like any other citizen, but it is not what should have happened, you know, and it is not right that we come here and we're telling you that half of everything that happened, or most of everything that happened, we were not aware, you know, and we're not involved. However, or maybe because the contract, like you said, which I am not privy to, did not specify how often movements to central bank would happen, and also a whole lot of other things. Yes, that is also a concern. But we need to understand that the receiver cannot operate a central bank account. He can only maintain a commercial bank account. And through his instruction, work with the commercial bank to be periodically, based on the arrangement that was in place at that time, to be moving funds to the central bank accounts.
All right. So you talked about the audit process. Again, I'm still on that, and the challenges that ensued for the auditors and for your department as well. Did you ever have to invite perhaps Mr. Barry to reconcile what is being deposited into CBG and what is being generated from the sales?
Yeah. We have not or never engaged Mr. Barry on anything, because
what about the Ministry of Justice?
As far as we are concerned, there is no relationship between us and Mr. Barry. What we do, any question, any query, any follow-up, is directed to Ministry of Justice.
Okay. Doesn't that make things a little bit complicated or a little bit slow? That your questions you have directed to Ministry of Justice, forwards to Mr. Barry?
I don't think we have ever had an issue whereby we had to engage the Ministry of Justice to be able to get hold of Mr. Barry. However, at that time, you know, government felt that, you know, all this was under the purview of Ministry of Justice. So for us, anything relating to this that we have, we would direct it to Ministry of Justice.
Okay. I'm going to ask the Secretariat to show you. So, AG, we're going to show you one of the documents you submitted from your file that is called Jane Commission of Inquiry.
Yeah.
It's folio number 60, and it has several attachments. I just want us Secretary, kindly hand over the file to the witness. So I want you to take a look at folio 60, the document and the attachments, and then there's also another one. This is from our own submissions received from the Ministry of Justice, MOJ 278 will also be handed to you. Take a look at it, and then I can ask you questions. I will give you 2 to 3 minutes to take a look.
And so can I ask to get her to discuss certain things to find out from her?
Sure, no problem.
I'm done.
Okay.
Is it 60? Just folio 60,
60
and it's
and the
attachment.
attachments, and there's another single document that was given to you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. The subject matter
Yeah.
is similar, if you can look. So, earlier we talked about traceability, the purpose of the two recovery accounts. Main one, accountability purposes, and to be able to trace the funds at any point in time that anyone has questions about it. And now we have those requests and those letters. We've seen the funds for the tractor sales going to the CRF. So that is one lump sum that if you take a look at the recovery account, it's not it's not included, right?
Which one is not included?
The 13 million total from the vehicle sales, so the tractor sales from the sub treasury accounts, it was swept to the CRF, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah. So
Do you let me continue my statement, or you want to come in here?
yeah, maybe I come in before I forget.
Okay.
Yeah. To address your concern of traceability, especially for accounts or funds that went through the CRF, in the document where we have the analysis of the sale.
That is the reconciliation.
Yes, the reconciliation.
Okay.
Although we're to bring the statement for Birkama sub treasury, some of the it's already with you.
Shared, yes.
So maybe I don't know whether we should go back also, because you should be able to see these transactions there.
Okay.
But then we had done on the right hand corner here analysis of everything that was collected through those two sub treasuries, and they amount to 13,083,000.
Yes.
So, in terms of tracing it to the Jane Commission, if you look at the Jane Commission Dalasi account for on the statement on the 10th of January 2019,
10th of January 2019.
on the Dalasi account statement,
Okay.
you see a 13 million and 23.
Yes.
So that 13 million and 23 is everything, including the transaction of the 30th of January 2019, amounting to 60,000. So you add 60,000 to the 13 million and 23. It will give you the entire amount that was collected under those two sub-treasuries for the sale of Jane assets. So in terms of traceability, you can trace it to the Jane Commission account.
So, okay. So where did you say I can find the 60,000 balance?
Have you seen the
I've
10th
seen
of
the-
January, 13
yes.
million?
Yes, 13
Plus,
million and 23,000.
On that same page, 30th
Yes.
of November, second to last transaction, 60 million. How much? 60,000. On the same page, second to last transaction,
Same page is,
60,000.
maybe it's the way it's printed, it's not the same, but
No, page 2 of 5.
hold on, please. You said 30th of November.
No, 30th of January 2019. On the same page that
Okay.
has 11
For me,
million.
it's page 5 for me.
Ah. Yeah. And
Actually, hold on, please. Okay. It's actually on page 6 for me.
on page 6 for you. Okay.
Yes.
And the description.
I'm looking at the statement submitted by CBG.
Okay,
Okay.
30th of January 2019. Is that the date there?
Yes, 30th January 2019.
Yes,
A
the
sum of
pages may differ.
$60,000, and then 10th of January 2019, a sum of
Yes. The pages
one-
may differ, but the date and details will
are
be
the
the same.
same. And this is
You add these two figures, they should give you total collections as we have it on the analysis of reconciliation, on the reconciliation sheet. On the right hand corner, we says 13 million and 83,000.
okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
those, you know, in case you want to trace it back to the records. Okay. So now let
So-
me allow
so-
you to
so-
finish.
Yes. So let me just ask before I complete what I wanted to say.
Okay.
This is some time, at least a couple of months, from the transaction, the day or the time the sale took place. Now, what was the reason for transferring the money from the CRF back into the recovery account?
You must you should realize that in this document where funds were routed through the sub-treasury accounts, like we said, because of the arrangements that are in place on these accounts, we want to be able to return or take the money relating to this activity to the CRF, to the Jane Commission account, so that we have full proof of whatever was done at the level of the recoveries and those bank accounts. So that is why, for traceability, these monies were moved so that they will be reflected in those bank accounts. If we had left them in the CRF account, you would lose the audit trail. That's the main reason.
Okay.
And today we would not be able to answer to your questions.
All right. Thank you for that. So let me just continue what I was going to say. It's good that you provided clarity here. But what I was saying essentially is that the purpose of the recovery accounts are for traceability purposes. I'm using your words here. And now, if you look at those two letters, these are funds that are supposed to be recovered, right? So I'm not sure whether you ever had the chance to take a look at the Jana Commission reports and the white paper, but you would see the recommendations of the commission for people aside from the president. There were his close associates. Were also there were adverse findings against them, and where the commission found them liable, they recommended that for them to pay back funds that owed to the government, or somehow that the loss that government face should be paid back, and ordinarily the funds are supposed to go into this recovery account. So the recovery account was not just for the sales. The recovery account was also for monies that were to be collected from these people that had adverse findings against them, and the government accepted the recommendations that they should pay back certain amounts. And that is why, if you can see in the letter, I think the one in your file is directing the payment of £136,000 into to the government. But unfortunately, that amount did not, from the instructions on that letter, the instructions are that the amount should go into another account different from the recovery account. Is that correct? Because account name is Ministry of Justice. The letter is from the Ministry of Justice, especially the one that's on its own. MOJ, the one marked MOJ 178, if I'm not wrong. There's a single letter given to you in addition to the file, different from the one in your file. There's a single page. Yeah. Yes, it's requesting for funds to be paid into an MOJ account. You can confirm whether I'm right or wrong.
Yeah.
That's a Ministry of Justice account.
Yeah.
And for purposes of clarity, that account is different from the recovery accounts.
By the look of it is different from the recovery account.
I mean, if you take a look at the statement for the recovery account, if you compare the account number, they are not the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I said, I don't know whether you've ever read the commission's reports and the government white paper, but there are people who the commission had recommended that they should pay the liabilities that they're owing the government. And the government accepted these recommendations, and you can see that's why the letters are written to ask these people to make these payments. But the money did not go into the recovery account. The request
is that
for
a question or a statement?
Yeah, no, it's a statement. Now, my question is, has the Ministry of Justice ever informed the Accountant General's Department about the recovery of funds from these individuals that had adverse findings made against them by the Commission? And in requesting the payments for the payments to be made, was the Accountant General ever informed?
Okay. So which one do you want me to answer first?
Whichever one you do.
Okay. I'll tackle this one on this letter first.
Yes.
For this one, you would allow us to go back and find out.
Okay.
But I am not comfortable with your statement to say the monies are not. That is why in the was not paid in the Jani Commission account. You know, why am I not comfortable is because some of these it's not that you know all the sources of all the transactions in here. It could be, it could not be. So it was not whatever to say that it's not here. And here I want to say that this although I do not know the Ministry of Justice revenue bank account number off my head, but based on the description Ministry of Justice, this is a revenue bank account. And usually when things like this happen, all revenue government bank accounts in fact, not only revenue bank accounts are managed by the central bank, by the accountant general. And then all revenue bank accounts, the arrangements is sweeping. Everything goes to CRF at the end of whatever. So if indeed the money has gone into that revenue bank account, it would have been swept to CRF, and eventually the reconciliation team should be able to pick it up, and then they would be able to just do it as the rest of, just like we do for the sub-treasury bank account. But I just wanted to bring that procedure out again, just to lay emphasis on the fact that all revenue bank accounts of government, that is the process they take. So that said, I would want to request that you allow us to go and find out to see if indeed it has been paid and what happened. Now, coming to the other one, this one, maybe remind me of the issue you want me to respond.
Okay, so from my understanding, from looking at that document, it's the same as the single one that we have given you. Unless I'm wrong.
The same as how?
The same,
that
basically the same payment request being made, with regards to the individual who has had adverse findings made against them.
Yes.
It's actually the same name of the individual, if I'm not wrong. If you compare the payments on the cover letter.
This one, the name is Fadia Mazigi.
Yes, Fadi Mazigi.
Whatever. This one is I don't think transfer sum from Africa. I don't think the name is
on the subject line.
It says Africa Group Limited.
Euro Africa Group, is it?
Euro Africa Group Limited.
Yes.
So I don't know.
It's
maybe
so
it's related.
Not only were adverse findings made against individuals, but against companies as well.
I
and
know.
Some of these individuals are shareholders in those companies.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So for this one,
yes.
We were involved. In fact, one of the reasons why it took so long for this to be addressed is maybe because it was not being handled by the right people. Eventually, we were written to. After series of correspondence, like I see in the attachments here, eventually we were engaged on this matter. And the intention at that time, as far as Accountant General's department is concerned, because what we do is, if there is any monies that are to come to Gambia from anywhere outside, what we normally do is we would request, we would leave it with our embassies, depending on which embassy is handling this. We would leave it with our embassies, and eventually we would do a netting off. So maybe let me not do a netting off.
Okay.
That is technical. So maybe let me not bore you with those details, but in layman's language, it's like we always have an obligation to send money to our embassies outside.
Okay.
When we send money to our embassies outside, it incurs charges, plus, the cost of foreign currency buying here and all that. So instead of sending money from the Gambia, if we have any receipt from outside, we would leave it with the embassy, and then we handle the accounting bit, whereby we will give it to them and say, hold on to it. If we are to send you money for anything, if it is $10 you have there, and we are to send you $10, we'd say net it off, and then we handle it through the reporting mechanism. If it is $12 and we're to send you $10, we'll say you owe $12. Now you have money here that we're to send you which is $10. Now keep the balance of the $2 until you have another one. But this one, through internal consultation, we knew something like this would come up, and we decided to
have
move away.
foresight.
Pardon?
You have foresight.
I don't know whether it is us who have foresight. So instead of going through that process, because you would be asking me here, where is that money? You know, and I'll start to say this was how it was done. So eventually, we agreed that let us not tackle it that way. Let us just, for traceability, allow the money to come, you know. And in the money coming, I refer you to the bank statement for the Janney Commission account on
Which one? Dalasi?
the Dalasi. The page may not be the
Our
same.
pages don't tally, so just tell me the date.
Yes, on the 5th of February 2024.
Okay.
Yeah, there is an 11,497,440 credit into that account. This transaction is
5th of February.
no,
so-
yeah, 5th of February 2024.
Okay. Okay.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Yes. So this transaction is relating to this 136,000 pounds through our embassy in London, and the correspondence are what is attached there. So I don't know, because the letter that we attach here as part of the supporting documents from the Office of the Accountant General to the High Commissioner, our High Commissioner in the UK, has indicated, I don't know why you didn't see this, Janney Assets Recovery Account, bank name, and the account number indicated there. So just to corroborate this, look at the account number in the bank statement vis-a-vis the account numbers that we have on this correspondence, and it should answer your question.
Okay. Very well. Thank you for that clarity. So, we're not returning your file, though.
Pardon?
Not yet.
I don't return.
No, I mean, we are not returning your file to you, so please give it back to our
This file.
secretariat.
We made sure somebody signed for it.
You will get it back very soon. And perhaps we will make a copy of the single letter, the one you want to go and follow up, because that is our original.
Okay,
yes.
yes. Photocopy.
Or we can scan an email, send it via
Yes.
email. Okay. Right. We will do that. All right. I think that is all the questions I had about the recovery account for the time being. Like I said, according to the recommendations of the Janney Commission, which the government of the Gambia accepted, there were commercial accounts, or accounts in the commercial banks rather, that were operated by the former president. Secretary, kindly show the witness emoji 5A, or perhaps the legal notice, which is emoji 2. Which one has the witness been shown? Emoji 2. Okay. If you turn to the back, towards the end of the document, you will see attachments of list. Just keep from the properties and go to the bank accounts. The list of accounts. The document is titled Account Control by Yahya Jami.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So the recommendation of the Commission, of course, was that for the losses that the government of the Gambia incurred because of the former president, the recommendation was that the loss will be recovered from his assets, and that is why we have the assets sold, and of course from the accounts as well, the accounts in the commercial banks. Now, after the commission, the white paper, the Ministry of Justice wrote to several banks informing them of the outcome of the commission and the white paper, and that the funds in these accounts, whatever the amount were, should be transferred to central bank, the recovery accounts. Now, my question here is, was the AG ever put in the picture? Or when these transfers were eventually made by the commercial banks to the recovery accounts, did you ever receive notification of it?
Allow me to consult, but I personally don't know. So if you can allow me to find out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yes?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify my position, but we're not aware.
You are not aware. And considering you have the statement, I'm not going to ask you now to look at the statement and to confirm, but perhaps what I would say is that you can go, when you go back to your office, you can contact either CBG, you can, and maybe we can help by giving you the list of the bank accounts, and you can verify whether transfers have been deposited to the recovery accounts.
Maybe say that again. Let me understand.
So what I'm saying is that since you don't have much knowledge about these transactions after the commission, what I'm saying is that what we can do is we can give you a list, make a copy of this list, give it to you, and perhaps if you get in touch with CBG, you can confirm whether these funds have been received or not by CBG.
Into the recovery account.
Yes. Perhaps maybe of the many letters that Emoji wrote to these banks, I can show you a couple of them and you can take a look at the instructions that we're given to these commercial accounts. So the commercial banks to transfer these funds.
Okay. Yes, that was where I wanted to go to, because sometimes, sorry, it is good that we know who requested for the transfer, transfer of funds to CBG, so we can, maybe it would be good if we can have the
when we're forwarding the list, we will attach a copy of those requests. The letters, yes.
Yes, because then
the instructions to the commercial banks, so you can find out.
We can find out from both commercial banks and central banks. You know,
we will do that. Our records guys are not around at this time, but tomorrow we will ensure that they forward these documents to your office.
No problem.
Okay. I just wanted to know, I was of the mind that you would be in the picture for something like this. All right, so now we come to the last issue that I have, and then I can hand you over to the members of the committee. In addition to these bank accounts at the commercial banks that the former president and associated companies were managing, there were also accounts that were at CBG that the former president had access to directly, and they were subject of investigation by the Jana Commission. It's a list of 28 accounts, and these accounts are, I mean, from the name you can tell they were opened for different purposes, but these are accounts that not only did the former president have access and was able to withdraw from, but even some of his close associates who do not work for the government at all, private citizens, were able to have access to these accounts and even make withdrawals from them. Secretariat, kindly show the witness the list of accounts. Sorry, and there's a, yeah.
Can I just want
Yes,
to
sure.
ask a question. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'm done.
Okay, you've taken a look at the list. All right. So If you, on the last corner to the right, sorry, last column to the right, you can see that there's the account closure dates, or it shows the days the accounts were closed. If you turn to the second page, it shows the dates in which the accounts were. There's an account, there are two accounts that are inactive, and there's one that's active. This list is provided to the committee by central bank themselves. These were the accounts that were subject to investigation by the Jani Commission. Now, if you take a look at that letter that is opened from the binding, it's under one after it, it's referring to account closures. Now, my question here is, what is the process of closing accounts that are opened for specific purposes at CBG?
Okay.
Hold on, please. Okay, please.
Okay. For account closure, usually we would have a request from the implementing entity, i.e., the ministry responsible for those bank accounts.
Okay.
And in that case, they would be signatories to those bank accounts. So when we receive requests to close, it would be followed by a reason why these accounts, why they want them to be closed. And we would now write to central bank and request for the accounts to be closed.
Okay.
So for those that are under the purview, i.e., where AGD are signatories, AGD is a signatory to the accounts, also there would be reason behind why we want the accounts to be closed. And in both cases, we would write to the central bank and request for the accounts to be closed.
Okay. And at all times, it is always the ministry responsible that would give instructions or would write to request for account closure.
Yes.
So, okay.
But if that would request for account closure. And there are some accounts that they would not even come to the accountant general
for closure.
Yes.
Okay.
Because they did not come to us for opening.
Okay.
Yes. So, and most of these accounts that are here, we have nothing to do with them.
Okay.
So, that is it. Some we are, we know, but some we don't even know.
But aren't accounts opened at your request?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends.
So there are times
because
where,
for us, if we are not written to, if we are not written to, we would not know. Because given that, if the accounts are not under the purview of AGD, like it is our main accounts that we're responsible for, unless you have a trigger from the implementing entity, we would not.
Okay. Even to this day, any ministry can request for account opening at CBG without...
No, not at CBG.
Okay, please continue.
Usually, all bank accounts that are to be opened by CBG for government operations are channeled through AGD, and AGD would request for their opening.
Okay.
So, but during that time, they said, I don't know, but unless maybe you allow us to check, but I don't think some of them came through AGD.
Okay. All right. For my interest is in the account closures. And if you take a look, some of them are 2017, 2018. I think we have 2023, something like that. If you turn to the second page, I mean, one of the accounts is still active. The two of them are inactive, and according to the governor, the inactive accounts are, or an account is described as inactive when there are no activities taking place in a 6-month period. And that is why they'll be labeled as inactive. So I had put a question to the governor yesterday about these accounts, and generally when accounts are closed or there's a request for closure of accounts, is it that when the account gets to zero, that is when the request for closure would be, or can an account have some funds in it and then it still be closed? And if that is the case, what happens to the funds? Where are they diverted to? Do they go into other accounts, or do they go to the TMA or the CRF?
Oh, it's for me to answer. I thought you said you asked the governor.
Yes. So the governor's answer was that it depends on the instructions they receive from the accountant general. So if the account that is being closed has some funds, it's the accountant general that tells the bank what to do with the funds or where to transfer the funds. And I just want an answer.
Yeah. Basically, that is what happens.
Okay.
If an account is to be closed and there's some balance in the funds, balance of funds in the account.
Yes.
In requesting for the closure, we would request also for the transfer of funds into the CRF.
Sorry, please repeat that.
I'm saying if there is any need for any account to be closed, which has a balance in it, we would request for the closure and at the same time request for the transfer of funds into CRF.
Okay, so at all times the transfer or would be to the CRF at the time of closure?
It depends, but in most cases, especially for accounts that maybe dormant accounts, but it is mainly dictated by what the request that we receive sometimes. Because, for example, if maybe an account is being investigated on and the intention is to clear or to take all funds that are from this to CRF, that is exactly what we do.
All right, thank you very much, AG. Honorable Chair, these are all the questions I have for the AG for the time being. And I am now handing her over to the committee for questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Legal. Thank you, Madam Accountant General, for trying to provide answers to questions from the legal. Now it will be the turn of the honorable members if they have questions for clarity to ask. I will ask Honorable Sir on my right if he has any question. No question. Honorable.
Just a short one. Thank you very much, AGD. Now, I know the council has asked this question about the certain accounts being operated on by government, various government institutions, and it seems you are not too sure of this particular accounts whether you guys give clearance for their opening or not. Now, you being the Reserve General, the Paymaster General, and the Accounting Officer of government, when such actually happens, what do you do? Like you see an account and you are not too sure, because it is your responsibility also to ensure that accounts that are open, you are aware. In fact, this assembly actually has given a resolution on that any account is open for the government, you must give a clearance before the account is open, whether at the central bank or whether at the level of the commercial banks. Now, when you become aware of this issue, particularly this account or any other account, what do you normally do?
Maybe for clarity purpose, I want to know exactly what you mean by when we say this account, because in terms of procedure, we will be written to request for opening of bank accounts, and a reasoning is attached to say why we should open a bank account at central bank, for example, and we will end up opening it based on the information that is provided. So I maybe to clarify, please let me have the question again.
The question is, when you become aware of an account that has been operational at the level of the central bank or at the level of the commercial banks, you being the receiver general and the account officer of government, do you take any action? Because those accounts cannot be opened legally without your knowledge as the accounting officer of government.
It's basically very difficult given the fact that these are operated manually. You know, there is no system where you can go and then say these are accounts of these accounts are opened, you know, for government. In as much as central bank has a system which we have access to, you know, and that will only be for accounts under the purview of ministries and departments, you know, so which I reasonably would take that there is a reason or there is a need for the use of or for the opening of that bank account, and that was why it was open. But now, to put this into context in terms of the accounts that are operated by the president, I would not, I'm not in a position to say whether we were the ones who opened this account or not, you know, because if, for example, the accounts are self-accounting, not projects, like it's being handled outside this thing of AGD, we may not, or we just facilitate the opening of the account in some instances, but in terms of getting information about that account, it is only the signatories that would have information on that bank account. So for us, we can only, maybe we can we can go through the system, central bank system, to see all the government banks accounts of government. But now whether these accounts form part of the accounts under our purview, which we facilitated in opening, I'm not in a position to say at this moment.
Now, don't you do reconciliation? For example, at the end of the year, you have access to all the accounts at the Central Bank of the Gambia, operated by whoever. So at the end of the year, don't you do at any particular, also at some time during the course of the year, don't you do a reconciliation for you to understand that these are the accounts of government and it's been operated by so and so and so? Don't you do any reconciliation on those things?
What kind of reconciliation? Because, like I said, there are some accounts that are our responsibility.
Yes.
In terms of reconciling those accounts. But apart from that, there are accounts under the purview of ministries and agencies. Those ones, it is those ministries and agencies who are responsible for them.
No, I understand. You know? The reconciliation I'm talking about is to reconcile the accounts that are under the purview of the government. Because those ones you have to know. Because at the end of the year, when you build in your accounts, you have to know those accounts to be able to build your statement. So you don't check whether all those accounts at the level of the central bank or even at the level of the commercial banks whether you are aware of what's going on, even though they may be operated on by another ministry?
No, there is no way that you can know because you're not signatories to those accounts.
No,
you
but
know.
you have access to the system at the central bank.
Yes, in
Yep.
terms of knowing the account, so this is the listing, you
Yes.
would see them.
Yes.
But you will not have details, and I'm not even sure unless I find out from my deputy who is in charge of bank accounts
Yeah.
whether it would also form part of the listing of government bank accounts. Let's say, for example, the National Assembly bank account. There are people who are responsible for managing that bank account. We're not responsible for reconciling those bank accounts. Neither are we responsible to know or to monitor what goes in there or what doesn't go there.
Yeah.
Because it has dedicated people who are mandated to handle those accounts.
Yes.
So in opening, we will facilitate. But what let's say, for example, National Assembly would end up using them for monitoring, reporting, reconciling. There are people, because it's not reasonable for one office to do that for the entire nation or for the entire country.
Yes. No, essentially what I'm trying to put at is this, that all accounts that exist at the level of the central bank, the account general should be aware. Even though we do not expect you to reconcile those accounts because somebody else is responsible to do that. But for example, this example you gave, the National Assembly, for example, at the end of the year, if there is something remaining on those accounts, you will be aware that this particular account, the central bank, because the Gambia government or the parliament is part of the government. So at the end of the year, you'll see that something may be in the account of the parliament. Something has to be done.
Yeah.
So those are along those
Something
lines.
like?
At the end of the year, those account has to be clear.
How?
When you build in your accounts of the government of the Gambia, any account that is created by the parliament that is at the central bank of the Gambia cannot have. It must be zeroized. They have to be moved to the Consular Revenue Fund.
That is true.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, like, at the end of the year, you should be in a position to see all the accounts of government, whether you manage them or you don't manage them, but you should be aware that at least this account exists at the Central Bank of the Gambia. And maybe this is the amount of money that is existing in that particular account.
Yes, that we can know,
Okay.
but not all bank accounts. That's what I am saying.
So what are the exceptions?
The exceptions would be, hold on, can I?
Yes, it's fine. Your deputy.
Okay, so I'm just being updated that there are some accounts, especially some of the ones that are here. Anyway, I have not done thorough work on this to be able to definitely say that they have not come to us, and that they were opened without our involvement. I cannot say that. I would just be um, assuming things here, but looking at the nature of some of these bank accounts. But I don't want to say something that is not factual, that is not, how should I say it, that is not backed by evidence at this point in time.
All right. Then what we can do, since you have the list of the accounts, maybe you can go and also check in your own records whether you are aware or whether you've given clearance or whether whatever it is. Then you get back to us with that.
It's going to be a very difficult task. Why? Because it's like you'll have to go through manual records. However, there is a way that we can check quickly, which is going through central bank system to see if they would fall, if they would come as part of the accounts that, comes as part of government accounts in that list.
Exactly.
And if they don't fall or if they don't come as part of that list, we would assume that it was not something that is under our control.
Okay. Now the last question I have.
Sorry, Honorable, let me just come in here.
Yeah.
So we were able to get this list. We did not give central bank specific directives. We just said we want a list of all the accounts that were subject of the investigations of the Janneh Commission, and they were able to produce this list.
Okay.
And I do believe that they should probably at least be able to give you statements and the information that Honorable is looking for. I just wanted to say that maybe it will help.
Central Bank
For the list, yes, they prepared that list.
No, I mean the statements, because the system is theirs, they know everything, So, otherwise you'll be going through us, we go to Central Bank, then they submit, we submit to you.
So I think the information that we're looking for is not just the statements or the transactions that are taking place in that account.
Okay.
It's account closures. At the end of the day, when the accounts were being closed, the funds are not Honorable is saying. In your response, you stated that some of these accounts you were not aware of them, and you may not even be aware of them because of the manner in which they opened. So for that information, it's fine, but we're not asking you to contact Central Bank for a statement.
So
we
what
don't
are
need you to do that.
From us?
When the accounts were being closed, what were the balance that were in these accounts and what happened? Where were these balances transferred to?
Yeah, that is
essentially that is what I'm asking for, and Honorable, I believe that is what you're asking for as well.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is it will be difficult to know. For example, if we were not the ones who requested for the closure of those accounts, so now Central Bank receives this instruction. Where they receive it from, I may not be able to know, but maybe I'm limited to what the instructions that are coming from the AGD to the Central Bank. So what I am saying is, if we go through the system and find out that these accounts are not part of, some of these accounts are not part of the accounts that we're privy to or have access to, then we cannot do much, So, but then CBG maybe may have more information on some of these things that are not coming as part of the accounts that we have access to.
Okay, so whatever the case is, just write and let us know, and then we can take it up from there.
So, legal, any follow-up?
No more questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you, madam, and for coming. So we'll let you go, but in case we need any information, The technical staff will get in touch with you. But for now, we wish you a safe flight, right? You are released. And the
Thank you.
and the session is also closed until tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Okay, so it's 3 p.m. tomorrow. Legal?
Yes, please.
So-
3 p.m.
Okay, 3 p.m. tomorrow.